The Russian ambassador to Washington, Mr. Kislyak, has emerged as a key figure in the U.S. investigations. You yourself were a diplomat. Should Mr. Kislyak, in retrospect, been more careful about his contacts with members of the Trump team?
But you know, for ambassador, the more contacts he has, the better he performs. You know, the high position he might have in the future, though maybe not in the case of Mr. Kislyak. So it's very strange. I am personally meeting American ambassador on a regular basis, British ambassador and other ambassadors. And of course, I'm not part of any administrations, but I think it's quite natural. I don't see why it is considered to be a treason in America. Ambassadors exist for only one reason, actually, to have contacts.
Well, the meeting itself, I don't think, any meeting that he may have had isn't in and of itself
discussion, sanctions, and other things. What's wrong about it?
Doesn't raise suspicion of treason. It's the substance of the meeting. What was discussed in those meetings?
What substance?
That interests
we don't
people.
know. We don't know what's discussed and why it is bad. Personally, I don't know. Maybe I'm not very well informed. I don't know. Maybe somebody in the Senate or Congress knows much more than us. But I don't know whether you know something wrong, which was discussed between the two gentlemen or others. I don't know.
I think we're all waiting to find out what the House and Senate investigations
For 2 or 3
reveal.
years. For 2 or 3 years.
You think that's how long it's going to take to get to the bottom of this?
I think. I remember I worked in London. All the royal commissions work very long, and I think the same with the commissions in the Senate and Congress. I think it will last for quite a while.
Mr. Kostin, with so many revelations about Russians, if you will, having meetings and calls with, and perhaps even making payments to members of the Trump team. Again, this is all under investigation. The easiest assumption for people in the United States to make is where there's smoke, there's fire. You say that's nonsense. How can you be so sure that nothing happened?
No, I can't be so sure. Our own argument is show us facts, name us some names or whatever. Just show us what's wrong was done. Not just a leakage of something goes wrong. That's exactly the message how used. No smoke without fire, but show us the fire.
I suspect that you're as familiar as I am with the public reports that Congress made available about American intelligence, concerning what American intelligence learned about the election. They concluded that this country, the state, meddled in U.S. elections. Is that a conclusion you dispute? So those are things we know. They've made that public. We know them in as much as that's what they've said.
Well, you know, secret services can play their own games also. You know, you never know. I mean, let's wait to see any investigation. I don't know. I mean, frankly speaking, I think American governments always were intervening with the Russian election. Let's put it very. And it's probably that will happen all the time. But at the moment, we don't see any reasons. I mean, do we seriously believe that Russia can influence the elections? The leakage of some kind of the documents of Mrs. Clinton, what's so wrong about this? What Mrs. Clinton had in this communication, that revelation of this,
well,
even with
hacking her, there's something wrong with hacking somebody's email, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. But who did it? Russian officer in the KGB? I mean, show us this. It's very simple. I think it's a witch hunt. I think it's real witch hunt.
Let me ask you this.
We don't have any
You believe it's a witch hunt? You agree with the president?
Absolutely. I share the opinion of Mr. Trump. Absolutely here.
Here's an important question for you. Will we find out in the course of this investigation that either you personally or your company, VTB, are somehow involved?
I'll pay you $1 million then.
No.
Immediately.
I'm not here to make. I'm not here to make bets. I'm not here to make
anybody
bets.
in this.
I just want to ask you a straight question. Will those investigations uncover any evidence of meetings with or discussions that you personally or your bank had with any of the people who have emerged as persons of interest? Mr. Manafort, for example, Mr. Flynn, any of those folks?
Nonsense. It's nonsense.
No is the answer?
Absolutely.
Absolutely
It's nonsense.
Not. You understand why I had to ask the question?
Absolutely.
Mr. Kostin,